I got to lower my fuel tank. It's got a small leak in it, and I got it jacked up right now in the front and in the back. I've got it jacked up with these two tall bottle jacks, like I did about a month ago with the when I had the leaf springs. And I got the Bobcat backed up against the back wheel to make sure, since it is slightly downhill on this end, to make sure that it can't try to move backwards. It's not downhill much, maybe an inch or so back there from up here, which isn't very much, but anyway, we're clean and dry on top of the fuel tank. It's wet underneath on the side of the tank back here. See all that dark? Let me see if we can get a view of what's on top of the tank here. I was up here when it was wet, or when it was dripping, the tanks were full, and there was no sign of anything leaking, of these hoses or any cracks or anything. It was all dry. But when it was full, the tanks are empty now, but when it was full, it was kind of wet, and it was dripping, not dripping fast, but a drip every once in a while. And it had left a circle here because it was jacked up for like overnight, and left a circle here about a couple feet across. We probably lost about maybe a coffee cup full, maybe half a coffee cup full of fuel while it was jacked up and sitting here like that. We are in the last day. This is the September 30th, so we're just only got one more month of warm weather, so I want to hurry up and get this fixed. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I never had to pull a fuel tank on a big truck. I don't know yet what I got to do. I don't want to take the bodywork off. I'm going to try not to do that. I'm going to climb back up here again, see if I can find out what. Okay. I'm going to see if I can just unbolt it right here. I'm thinking that my leak is going to be right behind this strap here. I'm thinking that maybe the rust from the salt on the road between the aluminum and the steel strap has rusted and ate a hole through the aluminum, is what I'm thinking might have happened. So obviously I cannot get to this bolt to take this bracket off. The bottom one I cannot get to. Or can I? Maybe it's accessible from inside here. I don't know yet. This is a learning experience for me. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start loosening things up, and whatever it takes to get it down, you will see what I had to do to get it down, hopefully without taking this bodywork off. I'm going to have to take this fairing off, and that's going to take a little while. Got the hood up, this bolt right here that goes on this little strap there that comes off, and down through this thing here right in front of the fuel fill. This hole right here has got a Torx head. Let's see if we can get a view of it. There it is. Big Torx head bolt down inside that hole there. And we've got several of those all the way down, and on the bottom we got these we got those two down here on the bottom, but they're trying to find out where it is here. It's down inside this hole, and wherever these brackets are. Okay, that bracket right there that I'm tapping with my foot. There's one here, this one's bent, and a third one back there. So it looks like there's only 3 on each side. We'll have to fix this later. That bolt wasn't going to come out, and I can't heat it up right next to paint and this rubber strap here, so I just went on and broke it, and we'll just deal with it later. Now, these bolts here, this is a female Torx. I forgot what size it is. Well, it says E12, so I don't know. It's a lot bigger than a 12, but I guess it has a different size formula. Anyway, that fits it. I got a small set of those here. Okay, this broke off too. I guess we'll just plan on taking this thing off of here and replacing all the bolts, because I don't think they're available, so we'll have to drill the holes out bigger like I did on the other side. I didn't do a video on that. I had to drill this thing out bigger and put regular bolts in, because these are not available through Freightliner. So I'm not going to go through whatever I got to go to find them. We'll just put regular bolts in, but have to waller these holes out bigger to get them to the socket to go down in there. I got this bottom one off. Here's the clamp that goes into the place up here. It just fits a certain way in there, and it's got a threaded nut. I remember when I had to take the other side off once, I had to couldn't get these things from Freightliner for some reason, so I had to weld. The nut came off. I had to weld a regular nut on the bottom of one of these. And this, it's a miracle this one didn't break. Look how wallered out that is. But that one didn't break, but that's the kind of bolt that it has. But yeah, Allen head bolts will fit down in there, but they'll fill up with dirt and you'll never get a wrench in them to get them out of there. So we'll just drill these holes out bigger and just put standard bolts in there. I've gotten off all I can with these. See, the bolts, most of the bolts broke off. I got one bolt out, and the other, I got 2 more bolts at these corners on the top of the Torx. They stripped off. They broke off and left the bolt round on top, and since it's down in a hole, can't do any kind of metal surgery to get them out. So I have no other choice but to take these big brackets off. Just the last 2, because the front one I got one bolt out and the other bolt broke off, but at least it's out, so the front bracket can stay on. But the one in the middle and this back one like this, we got to unbolt these big bolts back here and just leave these brackets on and take this thing off, and then once it's laying on the ground, I'll figure out what plan B is going to be for that. Got those 2 big brackets off, obviously, from the inside on the frame. Don't know what's holding me up here yet. All I did was set that end on the ground, walk up here, grab the camera, and I'm going to go on ahead and set the camera down and pick this end up and hopefully set it on the ground without it being hung up some more. Want my paint on the concrete. I just spent a little while scraping the dirt with that big wide, that's about a 5 or 6 inch scraper there, or putty knife or whatever. Anyway, spatula. I scraped a bunch of dirt off of this. Now I'm going to go under and show something that I got to do before I take the tank down. I got to take these fuel lines off, but before I do that, on my truck, I can't say about anyone else's because I just work on mine. Anyway, I got these crossover valves up here to these hoses that go to this tank on this side. They're up here on top of my transmission. And I'm going to close these valves. There's 2 of them. One of them I cannot see, but I can feel it. And there, I just closed that one. And this one we can see when it closes. This place where I'm pointing my finger here is going to ride around here and lock up against this. So those are closed now. So that should keep from siphoning fuel out of this tank, out of these hoses onto the ground. And I'm still going to have to put a pan underneath here when I take these off. I might not have to. I might be able to take them off, put a rag around the end of them, and then just stuff them up here. My fuel level is down about here where my fingers are. I already put a stick in the tank and found out there's about 4 inches of fuel in there. And so if I get these lines off, I can probably just stuff them up here, put a rag on them so they don't get any garbage in them. Got the fuel lines off, got a sock over the end of them, and they're stuffed up there higher than where they were, and they're not dripping. So I can start loosening this tank up, get a transmission jack out here and put underneath it. Before I start lowering the tank or loosening it up, I got to get the wires off of this sending unit. Right here is the top of what holds the tank on, but this one here, these bolts here, they hold the steps on and they work together. Down here is how you adjust the steps between this one and this one. And when I look in here, it looks to me like the only way this tank's going to come off is to take these 2 bolts out that hold the steps on and this strap here that holds the tank on. I got to take them both out. I don't think I'm going to have much luck getting these bolts out though. They look pretty rough. We got this bolt out, but this one is not coming out. The only way to get it out that I know of is to put a torch on this aluminum here, because that aluminum has rusted up real bad between the steel bolt and the aluminum block here, and that powder has swelled up and locked onto that bolt, and it's not coming out. So, and I'm not going to put a torch on it on this fuel tank, so the only thing I can do is just break it off and then drill it out later. I broke the bolt and the whole strap just dropped. It broke off and fell because the strap is rotted in half in the middle of this bracket that's holding the steps on. So if that tank was full, it probably would have fallen when it did that, but the back end is still holding it up.